Good evening from a lovely evening in South Africa. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be, at whatever time you may be watching this. Welcome to episode 4 of Bounce Back Lessons on Grit and Resilience. I've got to have grit to speak louder than these birds decided to do this talk outside today. Welcome. Today I'm going to share 2 stories of grit. If you remember in episode 2, I said that my grit was my determination, my drive. Excuse me, it was my passion, my perseverance, and my persistence in being interested and focused on my goals and my aspirations. So I'm going to share 2 stories of how I stayed and remained focused on my aspirations and goals. Hi, I am Lois from Coaching Conversations for Change. Please tell me what you think. Tell me if you have grit. Share your stories and experiences of grit, and let's have a conversation. Many years ago, 1980 in fact, that's a long time ago, I was a product manager in a pharmaceutical company, and I wanted more. I wanted a bigger company, bigger opportunities. And I saw an advert for Cadbury's for a brand manager, and it was in the Sunday newspaper, and it asked for a telephone interview. So I phoned. The number was incorrect. I got out the telephone book. This was pre-internet and pre-smartphone days. Got out the telephone book, looked up the correct number for Cadbury, phoned, and I had a very, very unsatisfactory interview with somebody from the HR department. Disappointed, I put the phone down. A week later, the following Sunday, there was an advert again in the Sunday paper for this product or this brand management position at Cadbury, this time with the correct telephone number. I thought, no, this is not right. So what I did was I prepared my CV, put it in an envelope, addressed it to the marketing director, jumped in my car, drove over to the Cadbury offices and left the envelope at reception. A couple of days later, I got a telephone call from the marketing manager saying, please would I come in for an interview. A very satisfactory interview, and I was given the job. I worked at Cadbury for 8 years, and in that time, that HR person and myself never ever had a discussion or a conversation. It was an incredibly satisfactory 8 years. I launched the product, which at the time was the most successful chocolate product ever, into the South African market. Some of you who were around at the time will remember Tempo. It was the highlight of my marketing career. That story showed that I had grit. I didn't give up. I was focused on my goal, and I went out and I got the job. Let's go back even 10 years before that. Wow, now we're going back into the 70s. I was working at a retail company, the OK Bazaars in those days, and I was in the advertising department, and there was a job advertised for a product manager at a pharmaceutical company. Sounded perfect for me. I applied for the job. First interview, great. Second interview, even better. The third interview was with the chairman of the company. I knew I had the job then. The interview did not go as I expected. The chairman said to me, I'm sorry, you're perfect for the job. However, I'm not prepared to take a risk on somebody who's going to leave after a year to go and have a baby. I was married at the time, young, and I never got the job. In those days, there were no legalities or rules or regulations about gender or marital or age status, and so I never got the job. Disappointed, I went back to OK, and I carried on working in advertising. 1 year later, there was an advert in the paper for the product manager for the same pharmaceutical company. I swallowed my pride, applied for the job, went for the interview, and this is how the interview went. Me to the marketing manager. What happened to the man you hired? Did he leave to have a baby? He smiled and said, if you want it, the job is yours. I joined, and I stayed for a year, and I left for the same reason that the man did. Not to have a baby, but to find a better opportunity. In this case, it was to join Cadbury. So what are the lessons from those two stories? It basically goes back to my definition of grit. I was passionate about getting a strong, good marketing job. I wanted to grow in the marketing world. I was persistent and I had perseverance. I was determined to get those jobs, and so I worked at it. I had a focus, I had a goal, I had an aspiration, and I had the right grit to go after what I wanted. Also, there was a little bit of resilience in there. If you remember, resilience is the bouncing back. After the 2 rejections, I bounced back in both of them, and both of them gave me a satisfactory result. Do you have grit? Let me know below. If you have grit, say, I have grit. And if you do not have grit, say, I do not have grit. I would love you to share your opinions, ask me questions. Let's all develop our grit and our resilience to a greater future where we achieve our goals, our objectives, and our aspirations. Thank you very much for being here, whether live or on the replay. Please tell me what you think. Tell me if you have grit. Tell me if you want to get grit, and we can have a further discussion. I'm competing with the birds here. It is such a lovely evening, and there's so many birds in this garden. I'm just loving it. I hope to see you all again at my next call on Friday. I will share more stories on Friday about grit and resilience. Have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you soon. Bye.